Good morning. This is kind of aggravating. I recorded a whole episode. It was like one of my favorite ones I've ever done. And then the camera died right at the end, which usually it saves, but this time the camera died and it did not save the progress. But at least I didn't finish my eggs, so I still have eggs for the re-recording. But dang, I had such a nice breakfast made. It was like I had sausages and eggs and toast and everything. But oh well. I had a sticky note with the topics that I was going to talk about, which usually I don't do. I haven't done that for any Breakfast with Bevs, but today I wrote down topics. And I stuck it down here on the filing cabinet, but it was so windy today that it just blew away. My topics are gone. But that's okay. I think that's some sort of message that I shouldn't go scripted. Oh yeah, and then I came out here to re-record after trying to recover the data files, and there's a dude mowing the lawns all the way up and down the sidewalk here, which is like cool. He's doing a good deed, but it just wrecks the audio, so I had to wait. Ooh, a G20. I haven't seen that one around. I usually keep my eyes out for him, but not that one. So Breakfast with Bev has been interesting. I think we're 2 weeks in today, or that might have been yesterday. So this might be the 15th day of it. I'm not sure, because I started a couple days before October started. But it's actually been pretty valuable as an exercise in talking, which I talk to cameras a lot. So like I make an effort to change and improve the way that I talk over time. Years ago, I didn't really talk at all if we go back far enough, but over the past 4 years, I've really made an effort to like change my, not inflection so much. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but so I never used to talk, and then I kind of got over that by just telling myself nobody really cares and most people don't think that much before they talk. That's the thing, is I would think a lot about what I was going to say before saying it, which is not a bad quality to have, but I had that to a fault where the point that I just didn't really talk at all. I remember in middle school I used to count the number of words I would say in a day. I would count, and I think my record was 3 was my lowest that I was able to do. But at that point, that was a game. But on average, you know, it was enough that I could count them on a normal day. So that was an interesting time. And then I kind of came out of that by just talking more, just by brain dumping. I had to convince myself to stop thinking so much before speaking. And at that point, I started talking more, but I started talking in circles a lot, which is better, but not great. I would like to be more concise in speaking. So I made an effort to start being more concise in my speech and not say the same thing over and over again. So I started pausing and saying and to like hold attention between things that I was saying, which is another flaw that at that point, I was being more concise. I wasn't talking in circles, but I was saying and a lot. And after that, my goal was to cut out the ums and uhs. So I started to just take pauses when I was thinking. Instead of filler words, I would just take pauses, which if you see an unedited episode of Breakfast with Bev, basically I only cut out periods of silence. Everything you see me say in an episode is everything that I said on the porch that day. It's just cut from like 20 minutes to 10 minutes just by cutting the silence. Because I stopped to think a lot. And so now the quest is, I think I can speak pretty concisely. I'm fairly well thought out, and I don't say and a lot. I mean, I'm saying it now, but not as much as I nearly used to. And so now the quest is, can I try to keep that flow going, keep that conciseness of speech without taking quite as much time to pause between thoughts. And so that's been part of the exercise, the experiment of Breakfast with Bev, is how much do I have to cut? How little can I cut? And by the end of this month, how close can I get to just a fully uncut episode? Because the dream is to be good enough at speaking that I can just do a 10-minute episode with no cuts. Which it seems like not that crazy of a thing, but people who can really concisely and smartly talk without pausing a ton and without talking in circles, that's a rare thing, and that's something that I would like to develop. So that's kind of the quest and the thing I'm practicing here with Breakfast with Bev, is how well can I... See, this is one of those pauses where I'm like, hey, what am I going to say next, you know? How well can I keep my thoughts going and say things concisely without pausing, without umming, without And now this is the point where if you watched an unedited Breakfast with Bev, I would take like a 20-second silence to just think about, am I going to continue on this topic or do I go to the next one? But if I don't allow myself to take that pause, then I'll continue talking in circles. So it's interesting. And I don't know how well you can actually train yourself to get better at that sort of thing. I know you can train yourself to improve, but at some degree, it's just people talk the way that they talk, and that's how it is. But I think you can get better slowly over time, because if I look at myself doing a voiceover 3 years ago, it's way, way worse. Like, I ramble, I'm talking in circles, I'm saying a lot. And even my inflection, my tone of speaking is a lot less direct or confident. And so while I'm practicing that just to get better at speaking into a camera or get better at voiceovers, it also just spills over into life in general, how I talk to strangers and when I meet people, how do I make first impressions? So it's a good exercise to have. I think more people should talk into cameras, or I guess normal people just talk to their friends more, but it's a good exercise to do. I talk about this kind of stuff, being introspective and things, in Breakfast with Bev, because mostly this series is for me, and it's like I'm in a pretty big season of change right now, and moving and taking my first real job and getting my first real apartment alone. It's a big season of change in life for me, and so that's why a lot of the stuff on my mind and a lot of the stuff that comes out in these episodes is about change and self-improvement and routine, because that's what's on my mind. That's where I'm at in life right now. Wow, they are really knocking down the hospital now. I said it in a previous episode that one day I'll look over these trees and I won't see the hospital anymore. That seems to be coming soon, because right now I can see the top of it, the bit that I see over the trees. The wall is like that, like they are knocking it down right now. Oh, that was a loud noise. Something's going down over there. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'm gonna walk over and get some footage of this falling down, see what's going down, and I will see you tomorrow.
The baby skid steer. Impressive.